Hi everybody, it's Jessica Nicole Dickerson aka JND and I'm coming back with another video. So for today's video I'm doing a November wrap-up, and in November I read 11 books, which is really shocking, but at the same time it's not, because I participated in a personal 24-hour readathon and then I participated in Lolathon, and I have vlogs for those videos if you want to check them out because your girl likes to vlog. Going in to all the things, got my handy dandy journal of knowledge. Firstly, I'd like to commend myself. I uploaded 7 videos this month, so I think what's been really working for me is that I will film like 2 to 3 videos in one sitting and then slowly upload them. So yeah, very proud of myself. And then, you know, I finished 11 books on top of that, and while doing school and working, so it was a good month. It was a good month. And I had Thanksgiving break. Even though I was in my dorm room and just read and had a 24-hour readathon on Thanksgiving, it was still a nice, chill, relaxing time. Yes. Another just big thank you or milestone is that I hit 200 subscribers in November, which is really exciting. So thank you all for subbing and liking and commenting. It means the world to me. Hopefully I continue to entertain or do something that you continue to like, because that'd be nice. For November, I feel like I killed it, so I'm trying to keep the flow going into December. But quickly, I wanted to talk about all the books that I read in the month. So some of them I don't have because I listened to them on script. So the very first book that I finished was Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. So for that book, I gave it a 5 stars. It was so incredibly well written, and it made you care about these kids, and like, I just feel like it's something everybody should read. It should be required reading. All these kids start to open up and talk more, and it's all about communication and understanding other people's perspectives. And I think Jacqueline Woodson does such an incredible job always highlighting other people's like lifestyles, like not villainizing anybody, but also at the same time still creating empathy for them and what they're going through. So it was really good. 5 stars. So it's about 5 kids who their teacher kind of forces them, they're all special ed kids, their teacher forces them to hang out in this classroom after school once a week and just like talk. She's like, you guys need to talk about things. And they just, you know, you slowly start to hear about what they're going through, and there's like the white perspective, the black perspective, people who have parents splitting up. Like, there's a lot of diversity, a lot of things going on, little gems. So highly recommend you check it out. The next book I read was Amal Unbound. I don't remember who wrote it. Oops. But it was very good. I realized, like, in the moment I was like 5 out of 5, woo, but then like after reflection I'm like, it's more at a 4 out of 5, because I feel like I didn't care as much about the characters as I could have, especially this main girl. Like, I wasn't that invested in the story, but it still educated me and I still learned a lot. So still definitely 4 out of 5 stars. The story is about a girl. She lives in a country where, you know, women's education isn't valued, and one day her life kind of just turns upside down and like her education's put on the back burner, and she's the one who has to take care of the family and things go down. So I highly recommend. It was a very interesting read. I just wish I cared more about the characters, but it's okay. Might have been because I listened to the audiobook instead of reading it physically, so I might try that later on in life when I reread it. And then the next book I read was Dread Nation. So this book was actually really good. Still a 4 out of 5 stars for me, just because, again, I didn't really care for the characters too much, but it was so good. So Dread Nation is about after the Civil War, or not after the Civil War, but during the Civil War, like, the people that are dying like turn into zombies and like are starting to eat people. So instead of, like, you know, North winning and stuff, it's like they're trying to rebuild their society, and there's still kind of, some societies are still sticking to the idea that, you know, African Americans have to serve, and white privilege, if we need to focus on our business end, and you guys are going to protect us, and you're not like our European species. Like, there was a lot of shade thrown in this book, and it's funny because our main character is just so badass, and like she just proves everybody wrong. But like it was a good read. It was a very, very good read. Highly recommend. Dread Nation. The next book I read, I actually have First and Then by Emma Mills. This one I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I am shook because this was like, I kind of have been putting off this book for a while because I was like, I don't know if I want to read it. I don't know how I feel about this. And it's a Pride and Prejudice kind of meets, what is it? Friday Night Lights. Don't know what that is. And I don't know, I've never read Pride and Prejudice, but this book was so good now I want to read Pride and Prejudice because it's about unrequited love. So this story is about a girl who's about to embark on college, but she's still in her senior year of high school, like thinking about college, not knowing what she wants to do, and she kind of has an unrequited love, but a new boy comes into town and he kind of flips things up, and it's not your typical like love story. I feel like it has a lot more to do with how she's feeling about life and, you know, figuring out what she needs to be happy. It was so cute. And then they had this brother complex where her cousin's having difficulty with his mom and he moves in, and that throws another wrench in their plans. But yeah, it was so amazing. And now I need to read Pride and Prejudice because that's how amazing that book was. And I cared so much for this girl in this book. She was like, I needed her to be happy. Like, I needed it to happen. And I don't want to spoil, but it was a good ending. The next book I read was If You Come Softly by Jacqueline Woodson. For this book, I gave it, I think I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 because it was great, but it was really short. That was my only complaint. I cared for the characters a lot. The ending had me crying. You can see the vlog. I cried. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling, so I knew it was gonna be tragic, but I didn't know. Like, I thought it would be more reflective on the story of Romeo and Juliet, like a tragic suicide. You have to read to find out what actually happened. But it just, the whole story transpired so quickly. I wish I had more time to like get to know the characters and things like that. But yeah, it is about an African-American boy who also likes this Jewish girl, and this Jewish girl likes this African-American boy, and how it feels to be dating as a mixed couple, and family relationships are very difficult. Like, his parents are very well-known celebrities, and like they're getting a divorce, and it's just like not great, and her mom is kind of cuckoo, and like there's a lot of family dynamics also in this story. So yeah, highly recommend. 4 out of 5 stars. I'm just falling in love with Jacqueline Woodson. She's becoming a, you know, auto-buy author. Very exciting. Now getting into all the books that I read for, whatchamacallit, that 24-hour readathon I did. So the first book I read was American Street, and I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I like had a whole like 30-minute vlog up about all these books. So yeah. So American Street, girl who is from Haiti trying to come to America, and her mom doesn't make it across. She gets detained and she doesn't come across with this girl, and she's going to high school with her new cousins, and things get a little sticky. 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I kind of didn't like the ending because it didn't make me feel like hopeful or anything. It just made me sad, and I mean, that's okay. But when it comes to things like this where you're talking about immigration, you want it to be a little bit more hopeful and having faith that the world and that things will be better. So yeah, but I really cared about the characters, and the dynamics and the relationships were really, really cool. And some of her decisions were like, but it's okay. She's young and she doesn't know, and she just cares about getting back to her mom. So very well done indeed, this book. The next book I read was Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. You guys know, if you watch my vlog, I talk so much about this book. It is so amazing. Everyone needs to read it. This should be required reading. It has an award, and it deserves it, and it deserves more because I love it so much. It is so good. It's about a girl who's a collagist. She's in a lower income area. She's going to a private school for scholarship, and she just keeps getting the short end of the stick, and people and her friendships, sometimes her teachers and her friends at the private school don't get her, and like her friends at home are like trying to empathize, but they're like, girl, you have this opportunity, you can't waste it. And it just shows you a lot of like, it's a different story that is told, and I like it because she faces so much. She's like a younger girl, but she's also very curvaceous. She's on the bigger side. She's African American, so she goes through so much, and it's great because there's a resolution. We talk about it with her friends and her mom and her mentor grows at the same time, and they're learning together, and it's such beautiful things happen in this book. Everyone and their mother needs to read it. Okay. Yes, 5 out of 5. The next book I read was Dear Martin by Nick Stone, which was so good. Like, I'm shook. Like, people talk about The Hate You Give. Like, I liked The Hate You Give, don't get me wrong, but after reading this, I was like, because this gave the same story, but gave like a more comedic aspect, in my opinion, that made it kind of enjoyable to read, but then also heart-wrenching. And I had a lot more feels, and maybe because it was shorter and it hit more. But yeah, like, this was so good. So this is about a boy who's writing letters to Martin Luther King to figure out like what to do with life. He is also a black or African American male who's going to a private high school, and it actually has like dormitories. Like, it's like a really fancy school. And I love this book because it also talks about just so much because of his privileged friends and the arguments they get into, and the girl that he likes is Caucasian and his mom doesn't approve. Like, there's so many like little nuances that it was so good. I gave this a 4 out of 5. Wish it was a little longer, and I really enjoyed the humor in the first half of the book, but then it kind of dwindled because it got more serious. But I still, like, the resolution maybe wasn't there enough for me. Still, it hurt so much. But yeah, highly recommend. Very good. And then the next book I read was A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, which I gave a 3 out of 5 because I watched a couple interviews after reading this book from Jason Reynolds about how this book wasn't supposed to really teach anything. He just wanted us to empathize with people who had this. They live their lives differently than others. So he talks about like juvenile detentions and the people who get stuck in them, and how societies sometimes, like in different upbringings, people are taught to kill. That is their solution. That is what they must do, and it's just a back and forth, and it's a cycle. This though, I feel like the idea was really cool with the elevator and going down and talking to people. It's kind of like the 5 people you meet in heaven, but I did not care for the characters. I struggled to differentiate all the people in the elevator, and why I cared about them, I really didn't. But it was written well, so the idea, the plot, and the writing were very well done. I just didn't like the execution of the actual interesting element of the elevator and the stories. So 3 out of 5, still good. I don't know if you don't really have to read it, like if you want to. And lastly, I read Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This book was a 4 out of 5. It was okay. I liked it. I liked visiting the worlds and getting to know them better. This one is definitely the most adventurous of all the books because they actually like travel to different worlds, which was really, really cool. So if you haven't read the first book, Every Heart a Doorway, it's, oh, and I read Down Among the Sticks and Bones this month. That's the book I skipped. Well, now I'm off track, but yeah. So this and Down Among the Sticks and Bones are the sequels, or like the next ones to Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, which is basically the story of kids who are like Alice in Wonderland, who like slipped through a door and went into a different world, and some of them get booted out of those worlds and are stuck back in our mundane world, and they have to figure shiz out. So yeah, I read Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which I also gave a like 4 out of 5, and then I read Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. So these two were both 4 out of 5, and it's just the plot thickens and you get to learn more about the world, and it's very cool. I highly recommend if you like that idea of venturing worlds and kids figuring out how to save worlds, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, those are all the books I read. I hope your November went well, guys. Comment down below, how much did you read? Did you read a lot? Did you read a little? I want to know. Do you have any recommendations too? Give your girl some recs. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!